I think it's always good, like when we have something that's bipartisan, to point it out, because it happens so little around here anymore. But rather than giving like a really big, long speech, I feel like I could just use this, and this will tell you that I think it's good, right? So like that's a fist, American flag, fire. So I'll just, from now on, when we do things where like we agree, I'll just hold this up rather than giving like a really big, long speech. So job well done, guys.
Would the gentleman yield?
Oh, sure, I'll yield.
But I'm not sure everybody recognizes the reference there. Would you explain where that comes from?
Yeah, so this is how when we're in like a chat with friends, right, where we're like having a casual chat about like where we're dropping missiles.
Are you talking about a public chat room?
Yeah, but like, and with friends, and we're just like, hamming about who we're gonna bomb and all of that.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here. And when unqualified, power-hungry ideologues treat national security like a group chat, American lives are put at risk. And the only thing that saved us this time was dumb luck and a responsible journalist.
But we agree. We fist American flag fire. So I'm holding this up. I think we could just keep the committee shorter if, like, when we agree, we just hold this up. Yeah.
No, I think you're supposed to have the flexed arm instead of the fist.
No, it was just it was just the fist. What signal chat are you in?
But
I was on Twitter.
If the gentleman would yield for an additional question,
sure.
But what happens if there are reporters who might be there for that?
Well, hopefully they support America, and that it's fire.
So you're telling me we can't have a bipartisan conversation among members of the committee without a journalist being there?
Well, we can, but if you don't add them, if you don't want them to know.
And what if they just happen to show up somehow?
Well, that's because somebody added them.
They screamed about Hillary's emails, demanded accountability from others, and called for jail time over minor infractions. But when they leak war plans on Signal, they lie, dodge, and smear. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It was part of a pattern of arrogance, hypocrisy, and recklessness. And now they're trying to pretend like it never happened. They leaked war plans in a group chat. And the only reason lives were not lost is because a journalist did the job that they were supposed to do. Let me paint this picture for you. We've got Pete Hegseth and a bunch of Trump sycophant cabinet members sitting around in a Signal group chat tossing actual war plans like they're swapping barbecue recipes at a picnic.
The chat included Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, as they planned an attack on Houthi rebels.
Real targets, real timelines, real Americans at risk. And how does Congress respond? Well, a lot of them are taking this seriously. It's been nonstop. Democrats and Republicans alike are asking questions, demanding answers. People want to know who was on that chat, what was said, and why the hell our national security was being run through an app you can download from the App Store. But then you've got the usual MAGA extremists running defense. Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz, and the rest of the bootlicker brigade are out there saying, yeah, okay, it was a mistake, but not as big as a mistake as Hillary's emails.
This is what the leftist media is reduced to. They can't argue with the policies which the American people support. Now we're griping about who's on a text message and who's not. I mean, come on.
More feigned, phony outrage. This is now the scandal of the week that you will see nonstop, 24/7, that nobody will care about. It's not only a smear, but it's waged by the left. That's all they've got, and their bingo cards.
The bigger takeaway for me is it's an insight, a transparent insight into the thought process and dialogue of our national leaders. If you read the content of these messages, I think you'll come away proud that these are the leaders making these decisions in America.
Did you ever try to start a group text? You're adding people and you accidentally add the wrong person. All of a sudden, your Aunt Mary knows all your raunchy plans for the bachelor party. Well, that kind of happened today with the Trump administration.
I'm not going to characterize what happened. Clearly, I think the administration has acknowledged it was a mistake, and they'll tighten up and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that.
It was clearly a screw-up. It was obvious that including Jeffrey Goldberg was inadvertent, and that was a mess. And an embarrassing mess. But I will say there's a big difference in that immediately the Trump White House took responsibility. They said this was genuine. This was a real exchange. It's very different from how Hillary Clinton and the Democrats did.
Maybe President Trump's national security staff, they're leery about being on government networks because the swamp did in Trump the first time. Maybe they're just trying to avoid leaks.
This is a gross error. They intentionally put highly classified information on an unclassified device. I would have lost my security clearance in the Air Force for this.
Well, They did promise to be the most transparent White House ever, right?
Now, while all of this GOP clown show is unfolding in Congress, Pete Buttigieg sits down for an interview and brings it right back to reality.
It was shocking. And I got to say, you know, all the things that I've seen happen in the last few weeks, it's taken a lot to feel genuinely shocked. But this is genuinely shocking. We're talking about incredibly sensitive, highly classified information that they didn't just discuss on an unclassified system. They sent war plans to the wrong guy. Now, they're lucky and we're lucky that that wrong guy was a responsible, patriotic, ethical journalist who just had on this program who knew not to publish anything that could put people's lives in danger. But I got two questions on my mind. One, what if this had in fact gone to somebody else? I mean, somebody who could plausibly be in some of these people's cell phones. I don't know, the Chinese ambassador or Russian negotiator. And the other question on my mind is, how many other times has something like this happened?
They didn't just have a conversation about war plans. They sent them to the wrong guy. The only reason this didn't become a full-on catastrophe is because the wrong guy, a journalist, was decent enough, patriotic enough, and smart enough not to publish it. That's the only thing that saved us. But Pete doesn't stop there. He asked the question that should be screaming through every newsroom and every committee in Washington, D.C. What if this had gone to someone else? What if instead of a reporter, it went to a Russian negotiator or a Chinese ambassador or hell, some rando in someone's Signal contact list? That's how dangerous this was. And how many other times has this happened? Because let's be honest, this Signal thread didn't just get created for one conversation. These people were comfortable. They were using it like it was their private war room. So how many other times have they talked about military operations in this chat and we just didn't find out? That means this wasn't a slip-up. It was deliberate. They knew what they were doing. And Pete, who served in uniform, puts it in plain terms. If I did this as a lieutenant, I'd be fired, maybe even locked up, because this wasn't a joke. This was a full-blown violation of military protocol. Because here's the truth. Classified means lives are on the line. It's not just red tape. It's about protecting missions, protecting troops, and making sure our enemies don't know what's coming. And these Trump loyalists, they blew it big time. And now they're pretending that it's no big deal. Let's talk about what this really was, a full-blown breach of national security. And if you don't believe me, take it from a damn 4-star general. Barry McCaffrey, a man who's actually commanded troops in real war zones, called it exactly what it is, disgraceful. He said it wasn't some policy debate or foreign policy banter. This was real-time war planning involving real pilots, real targets, and real risk. And when you blast the information into an unsecured chat room on a consumer app like Signal, yeah. Then we've got John Bolton. Yeah, that John Bolton. When he is suddenly the voice of reason, you know how far off the rails we've gone. Even Bolton said that he was shocked they used Signal and reminded everyone that Signal is not a government secure system. It's an app, just like WhatsApp. You don't use it to share top secret military operations unless you're an idiot. And guess what? That's exactly what General McCaffrey said too. These people were deliberately using Signal to avoid accountability. They didn't want their conversations recorded or archived because they knew that they were crossing the line. Even the journalist that accidentally added, Jeffrey Goldberg, dropped the hammer when he confirmed in an interview that they were texting war plans, targets, timing, who was at the site, how the strikes would go down. He didn't publish it because he could get people killed. And there it is. The only reason this didn't turn into Americans dying is because the journalists that they stupidly added had more integrity than the entire Signal chat combined. But these people, they've got the nerve to act like victims. They're out here whining about a smear campaign, pretending like it's just about who was in the group chat. And the same people who screamed for years about Hillary Clinton's emails, suddenly they don't give a damn about leaking active military operations. Give us all a break. They should all be fired, every last one of them. They took an oath. They signed paperwork. They know exactly what the rules are. They just think that those rules don't apply to them. And if we let this go, if we let them shrug it off like it's just another headline, then we're telling every 2-bit extremist and wannabe general that treason's just a typo. Not a damn chance. And that is an absolute fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.